Let's talk impeachment. I say the president has been on a victory tour since his impeachment acquittal. I say he's been unleashed. Watch this.
He's a sick person. Schiff is a very corrupt politician, and he's a sick person. He made up a story. It was total fiction. And then at the end, he said, "Don't call me, I'll call you." That's a mob statement. That whole thing was corrupt and a disgrace. And Romney's a disgrace for voting against. He's a disgrace. But I think when a man is with stop and frisk his whole life, and then he decides to go Democrat, and he goes to a church, and he's practically crying. It looked like hell. You know what I'm talking about, fellas. That was so of Bloomberg. Look, he's a lightweight. He's also one of the worst debaters I've ever seen.
Okay, let's bring in Senator John Barrasso, Republican from Wyoming. Senator, the president's tone is harsh. It seems sometimes like he's going for revenge. What do you make of that? Are you comfortable with the president's tone?
Well, the president has been under attack, Stuart, from the day he got elected, threatened with impeachment. The day he was sworn in, there was a headline in the Washington Post: the campaign to impeach President Trump has begun. He's finally gotten vindication. It is well-deserved. And I understand the president, certainly in the White House, should be able to surround himself with people in whom he has confidence and people who he trusts. But when you use the word unleashed, I think about the economy that has been unleashed by this president and by Republican policies that have cut taxes and eliminated regulations, and with the president's efforts on trade, 7 million new jobs since President Trump took office, and yet the Democrats continue to attack him. And all the good news on the economy, you know, Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren still will not admit that the economy is as strong and healthy and growing as it is.
Senator, you're a doctor, you're a physician. Put your doctor hat on for a second and tell us, what would Medicare for all under Bernie Sanders do to doctors? What do you think?
Well, as a doctor, most doctors are concerned, as they should be, with their patients, and the impact on patients would be terrible. People would end up paying more to wait longer for worse care. You know, Bernie's talking about taking 180 million people who right now get their health insurance through work and taking a sledgehammer to that. They would all lose that health insurance, yet at the same time, he wants these people to pay for health insurance for illegal immigrants. I just cannot imagine this as being a plan that is successful for our country, for health care in America. This is not a system that I think once people understand what Bernie's bumper sticker actually means, it becomes a lot less popular.
Real fast, if Bernie Sanders were to get the Democrat nomination, do you think he could win?
Well, you never know what's going to happen in terms of events in the world, but if you have to choose, and the American public has to choose between socialism and economic freedom, I mean, to me, economic freedom, free markets, that is the engine of our economy, where socialism is an enemy of our economy. I think the American people would continue staying with economic freedom over socialism any day.
Senator, I'm sure you saw this, but the president's just signed an executive order that will test the country's infrastructure. He's just signed this. You've been pushing for infrastructure legislation. Do you think is this the start of something going on with infrastructure?
Well, this is certainly a time to do it. We need this work done for our roads and our bridges and our tunnels. There's work that needs to be done. We have a bipartisan bill that has come out of the committee that I chair, the Environment and Public Works Committee, 21-0. Every Republican voted for it, every Democrat voted for it, and it would do the work that is needed at a time where there's a lot of optimism in this country, and I think this is a way to go, especially when you think 60% of Americans today will tell you they're financially better off than they were last year.
And 74% think it's going to get better still. Senator John Barrasso, Republican from Wyoming. Thanks for joining us, sir. Appreciate it.
Thanks, Stuart.
Sure thing.